Hi, I'm Jamie Redknapp and you're watching Football Stats Online.
Sparks will fly. Yes, it's the London derby, Chelsea versus Tottenham, and this time episode looks like their prolific strikers, Diego Costa versus Harry Kane. Who is better?
1, 2, 3.
Yes, and thank you very much for joining me again for another segment of Versus, where every week or most weeks I take two players and compare them statistically to see who is better. And this week features Harry Kane versus Diego Costa ahead of the London derby where Chelsea take on Tottenham. And as always, to judge success, I'll be looking at three different things: defensive contribution, midfield contribution, and attacking contribution. Now we're going to be looking at the stats from the previous two seasons, from 2014 to 2016. And if we start with the weakest area in defense, we can see that Harry Kane over the last two seasons has played 72 games, made more tackles and more interceptions, but has also lost more of the ball than Diego Costa, who's lost less of the ball. However, when we look down at the averages, it still doesn't make a difference in terms of the games they've played, as Harry Kane has made more tackles per game, lost less tackles per game, and made more interceptions per game. And despite the fact that he's played more games, Harry Kane is a better defensive player. And this is probably because of the way Tottenham play the game. They press more, so they're more likely, or Harry Kane's more likely to win more tackles and make more interceptions. So defense goes to Harry Kane. Come on! So Harry Kane wins defense. But how do the two compare when it comes to assisting other players? Yes, they are strikers and therefore their main aim is to score goals. But how do they compare in terms of midfield? Now when we look at the stats from 2014 to 2016, we can already see that Harry Kane has more successful passes and more total forward passes, as well as more key passes, whereas Costa has more assists when we look at the overalls. But look down and you see those averages and it's in a completely different story, with Costa dominating in terms of averages. Now as we know, Costa's played less games at 54 to Harry Kane's 72, and this shows in the terms of his successful passes per game, total forward passes per game, chances created per game, key passes per game, and assists per game. All bar the total forward passes are all better than Harry Kane's. So Diego Costa is a better player in terms of his midfield contribution to the team, and therefore Diego Costa wins round 2. ¿Qué estás diciendo ahora, chico blanco? So it's 1-1. Harry Kane for defense, Diego Costa for his midfield contribution. But who will land the final strike? Who will land the golden goal, the last minute winner? Let's have a look at attacking. Now it all comes down to this. This is their specialist area. The past two may have a bearing in terms of if it's too close to call, but this is where I'm going to see who is the better player, the better striker, the better attacker. Now when we look at the stats for attacking, it's no surprise, same old rhetoric. Harry Kane has made more successful dribbles, has more aerial battles won, taken more shots, and scored more goals based on the 72 games he's played. But as you know, we look at the averages, and when we look at the averages, it's still actually the same rhetoric this time, with Harry Kane still per game making more successful dribbles, winning more aerial duels, taking more shots, and having a better goal difference than Diego Costa. Now we can argue that Diego Costa had a terrible season, or not a terrible season, but Chelsea had a terrible season last season, and this also impacted Diego Costa's form. But hey, that's not Harry Kane's problem. Harry Kane can only play his own game. So looking at the stats from defense, midfield, and attacking, for me personally, it's very close to call, but I have to give it to Harry Kane, because despite the fact that he has played more games, in terms of attacking, he completely dominates Diego Costa. He has more dribbles, won more aerial duels, and scored more goals per game. Diego Costa is a better team player in terms of his midfield game, but it's not enough to sway my decision or my opinion that Harry Kane is the better striker. So what do you guys think? Based on the stats you've seen, do you think Harry Kane should have won, or do you think Diego Costa should have won? These stats are just my own interpretation and therefore my own opinion in terms of who is the better striker. I would love to hear from Chelsea fans, Tottenham fans, or just fans of the game in general. Leave your comments below. Maybe there's some interesting stats that you've seen that I haven't portrayed. Is there any stats that you'd like to see in future episodes? I'd really like to know. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, please do like and subscribe if you enjoy the content of Football Stats Online. And thank you again. And as always, peace to you. Okay? Come on, Anaste.
I'm sorry.